In this video, I'm going to teach you the basics of speedrunning Diablo 2. This is meant as a beginner's tutorial, so it'll give you everything you need to know in one place. But once you start to improve, you'll want to begin looking at other resources as well, based on where you struggle or where you're looking to improve at. I'm going to break down game mechanics, specifics about the category, routes, glitches, tips, tricks, and more. I hope you enjoy. First, we have the leaderboards. In the original Diablo 2, the leaderboards are insane because there are a lot of different ways to run the game. They're distinguished by class, core, difficulty, and player setting, with some extra fun categories. This has been cleaned up for the time being in Diablo 2 Resurrected, as a lot of these are paired together, reducing the number of leaderboards, but this is temporary, as eventually when more runs fill up the leaderboards, they'll have to be separated. For the purpose of this video, I'll be going over the Sorceress, PX, Kill Baal, Softcore, Normal Run. A mouthful, right? But what does that all mean? First we have the class. Which character are you using? This one is the Sorceress. Next we have the player setting. Here's the discussion post which goes in depth on what P1, PX, or P8 means. But basically, you can set the amount of players in the game from 1 player to 8 players. You'll still have 1 player in the game, but everything will be scaled as if you had 1 to 8 players. This affects the enemy's health, enemy damage and attack rating bonus, experience rates, and loot. In P1, you can only have it set to 1 player. In PX, you can set it from anything from 1 to 8 players. And at P8, you can only have it set to 8 players. Kill Baal means the timer stops when you kill Baal in Act 5. The core. In hardcore, if you die forever, and your character's lost, there's no finishing a run. In softcore, you play on. For difficulty, there's normal, nightmare, and hell difficulties, but really there's only normal and hell runs. We're going to play in normal mode for this one. And as a last thing, we record times in real time and game time. Now you have stats and abilities. Each character has their own skill tree, which has 3 groupings of abilities. For the Sorceress, we have fire abilities, lightning abilities, and ice abilities. We're going to mainly focus on the lightning tree and lightning abilities. Then we have stats. These affect a bunch of things, like health, stamina, mana, defense, elemental defenses, cast rate, speed, and the list goes on. These are affected by what you put your stat points into, as well as what items you have. Next we have maps, shrines, NPCs, and items. Each map is procedurally generated with mobs, parts of quests, exits and entrances, and pathways for the most part. In a speedrun, we take advantage of some patterns that develop when you look at a lot of maps from different runs. Mainly, based on what map we're on, we can know what direction the exit will face based on the starting tile of the map. I'm not going to go super in depth on this because there's a lot of guides already out there, but here's an example. In the underground passage in Act 1, the entrance tile will be one of these. Now based on which one we can designate the direction straight. So pick this tile for example. Straight is going to be this way. Now we can note that the exit tile to the dark wood will be to the direction straight, and the underground passage level 2 exit tile will be to the left with respect to our entrance tile, like this. Note that sometimes this can be deviously implemented. As an example here, the exit tile still technically faces to the left from our entrance tile, but it's actually behind where we started, which is not intuitive. Shrines give you power-ups for limited time, such as bonus experience, mana or health, mana regeneration, gems, etc. And then NPCs are found in towns or on quests and are mostly used to advance quests or to shop, like this. Lastly, items are found as drops or in shops and have various stats. We have standard items, magical items, rare items, and then unique items. Next, we're going to go to builds and items specific to our Sorceress. This is the progression of the skills and stats that we should put our points into from a guide by Teo. Before we respec, we use Charge Bolt as our main attack, which has a cone AoE lightning ability. After the respec, this is what our skill tree will look like. Our combo now will be a Frost Nova, followed by static fields to lower the enemy's HP, as it does percentage of max health damage, and finally a barrage of Novas to finish them off. For weaker enemies, we can just use Novas instead of static, but static is good for beefier opponents. And later on, we get Teleport to flash through the map. As far as items go, we prioritize faster cast rate to kill and teleport faster, and get items with sockets where we can place runes which give our items bonus stats. For defense, we'll want things with lightning resist for Act 2 and fire resist for Act 4. Also, items with faster run walk and faster hit recovery are nice, because they'll help us recover and teleport faster, and they'll also help us run and walk faster, which is nice. I think you want to hit about plus 60% faster cast rate, which you can do with the combination of the Tal and Eth runes, as well as a wand with 10% faster cast rate, and maybe an amulet that you find or a ring as well that gives faster cast rate. Next, we'll go over the routes. We're going to speed through this, so listen up, I'm only going through it once. Here's the Countess route. First, you go inside a portal at the Den of Evil. Now, you kill mobs and get enough items to sell gold and buy potions in the town. Go to the waypoint in the Stony Field, go back to town, buy your potions, go to the Den of Evil, complete the quest so you get a point for respec later. Next, we're going to meander our way to the Forgotten Tower in the Black Marsh. On the way, we're going to focus on killing boss groups to level up. Now that we're in the Black Marsh, we'll set a portal at the Forgotten Tower, and we'll go and find the waypoint so that we can grind it faster. And now, we grind the Countess until we get a Tal and an Eth rune, and hopefully some Ral runes for fire resist, and maybe some Tier runes for mana regen. After this, we're going to go through the rest of the map and find Andariel in the catacombs and kill her, the Octoboss. Afterwards, go back to town, sell our items, restock on potions, and then we're going to respec. This is where we're going to put our points into things like static and Nova. Finally, we're in Act 2. We're going to go first to the Halls of the Dead and grab the Herodric Cube. Afterwards, we're going to go to the Maggot Lair and the Claw Viper Temple and grab the 2 pieces to Talrash's staff. On the way, try to kill boss groups as well. Always want to be leveling up. Next, we're going to make our way to the sewers and go into the Arcane Sanctuary. It's here that we're going to roll a 4-sided die and pick a direction. We're going to go that way until we figure out if the wizard's there or not. If he isn't, go back to town and try again. If he is, open his book and go through the portal. At this point, there are Talrash's tombs in every direction. Go to your quests and look up what shape you have. Now, follow this guide to see which tomb to go to, depending on the shape. Make your way through the tomb, place the stash on the pedestal, and go kill Duriel. Easier said than done. Grab some thawing potions to make it a little easier. Finishing this, you'll talk to some people in town and set sail for Kuras for Act 3. This is the Jungle Act. Navigating through the jungle, we're going to look for the Spider Cavern and the Flare Dungeon. In here, we're going to find Kilim's eye and brain. Next, we're going to go to the sewers in the Kuras Bazaar and find his heart. Following this, we're going to make our way to Travinkle, where we're going to get his will, combine it all to make a flail, and break this orb with his organs, and make our way into the Endurance of Hate to kill Mephisto. I recommend bringing a mercenary to help you kill Mephisto, at least just to tank his one-shot lightning ability. In Act 4, we're going to TP across the Plains of Despair, the City of the Damned, the River of Flame, into the Chaos Sanctuary. We will then activate all 5 seals and kill Diablo's minions, spawning Diablo. Next, we're going to kill Diablo. After this, we've completed Act 4. We're going to move on to Act 5. Here, all we do is TP through the whole thing to get to the Ariat Summit and kill the Ancients. Easier said than done. Bring your mercenary so that he can tank a bunch of damage as you use statics to lower everyone's HP at once. Finally, after doing this, we're going to TP to the throne room, kill Baal's minions, and then kill Baal. Time. Alright, that's too slow. Let's do it again. First, get gold, buy potions, complete Den of Evil, kill boss groups, get to the Forgotten Tower. Now this time, we're going to do it a little differently. All we need to do is get the Tal and Eth runes. Don't care about leveling up too much. Now in Act 2 it's going to start the same, we're going to go to the Halls of the Dead and grab the Roderick Cube. But then, ideally, you're going to be level 12 and you can now respec. If not, grind out a few beetles, get level 12 and come back. Then, we're going to look for this enemy. I think his name's Beetleborg. Maybe not. Anyway, he's an orange beetle. All the other ones are green beetles. Going to find the far Oasis waypoint, and we're just going to keep coming back and killing him over and over with statics and novas. Eventually, you're level 18 and you have TP earlier than the first route. Now we can TP through and do everything else a little faster. But wait, that's still too slow. Let's run it back. 1 to 3, doing the same thing again. Except this time, we go to jail level 1 for jail strats. This part's fun. You get out your handy dandy D40, roll it, and if you get a natural 40, you get a champion fallen 1 tile next to our waypoint. We grind to level 18 there, and TP through everything faster. Unfortunately, like I said though, the odds are not in your favor, so if you want a real record time, you've got to do this strategy, and you're going to have to grind a lot of runs. But on the bright side, you'll get really good at Act 1. Next, we're going to go over some glitches, tips, and tricks. First, we'll go over some nice hotkeys. I'd like everyone to know that 1, you can toggle your run walk before you get your first stamina potions, right as you start the game. This is basically a strategy that helps you run walk a little bit faster, because you're going to let your stamina regenerate while you're walking, as opposed to draining it all the way and then starting to regenerate there. Next, we're going to shift click potions to heal your mercenary. So if your potions are on 1, if you do shift 1, it'll heal your mercenary instead of you. And next we've got legacy toggle for quicker potion buying. If we buy potions by just right clicking them one at a time, it'll look like this. But if we go into the legacy toggle and we do it like this, we can click way faster and fill up our inventory pretty quickly. I think you can do it in the regular mode like that, but it's a little harder to set up the yes loop. But when you have a belt with 8 slots, we can now right click buy the potions and it'll fill up the whole bar if we're holding shift at the same time. Then we can take off our belt, put it back on, and all those excess potions are put into our inventory. Here's a little teleporting strategy that we can use. Another way to speed up your runs is to use this, where you start teleporting and you hold the hotkey for teleport down while opening up the appropriate menu in the direction you wish to teleport. If you're teleporting on the right side, open your inventory. If it's on the left, open your character screen. As you see, this allows for slightly faster teleports. Next we have cheesing Baal minion waves. Baal will spawn the next wave of minions if the room is deemed empty. We can cheese the throne room in this case of a hard wave by aggroing the minions and leading them out of the throne room. With the Sork, we can TP back in, but in desperate situations, we can also just drop all our items either in our stash or in the throne room, and then lead all of the minions out on a death mission with a backup portal for when we die and respawn. Another alternative to Baal minions is Baal minion skips. There's a strategy to skip the spawning of Baal minion waves. This way, when done perfectly, you can walk into the throne room, clear it, skip all 5 waves, and go straight to Baal. Essentially, what happens is Baal will laugh, and then he'll shoot out a ball that turns into his minions after a short animation. What we can do is essentially, when he ends his laugh and begins the spawning animation, we leave the room, despawning Baal. If we re-enter, very briefly, in a timely manner, at the point where they would spawn, Baal reloads and does a check of the room to see if the minions are there. This interrupts their spawn and skips the wave. The way I did it, and there are some more in-depth guides, but this is what I noticed worked for me, was I'd leave immediately as he stopped laughing and count to 6. In between 5 and 6, basically on 5.5, I'd walk back in for a few frames and leave. When you walk back in, if you did it correctly, there will be a short pause between when you enter and when he starts laughing. If he laughs as soon as you enter, you did not skip the wave and can try again. If he doesn't laugh at all, the wave already spawned. Last, I'll offer up some tips. 1. Buffer your mana potions while teleporting. You can use multiple at the same time to keep regenerating mana as you're depleting it very fast while teleporting. Next, you can sell your tomes to refill them at a discount. Basically sell them to anybody who doesn't sell scrolls of teleport or identification, and then they will have that in their inventory with full 20 charges at about half the price if you were to refill it. buying just scrolls. When you need XP, go back to Act 2, kill beetles. They give a lot. If you find yourself dying a lot, drop your gold to avoid losing it. Basically, when you die, a percentage of what you have in your inventory and your stash is lost. To avoid this, just drop it on the ground in town. If you're in a spot you think you could die, always drop a portal. It's better to have this way to get back than to have to sometimes navigate back without waypoints. When you want to go back to town and don't have a scroll, quit and re-enter. But note, if you have your gold in town on the floor, it will despawn, so don't do it in that case. If you die in a sticky situation, quit and re-enter. Your body will then respawn in town with all your items, but once again, the gold will despawn. Watch a variety of records to see all the different things people do. There are a lot of cool improvisions I may have forgotten to mention. In fact, that's one of my favorite things about the Diablo run, is every run's different. You don't know what items you're going to get, you don't know in what order, you don't know where you're going to find different things on the map, so you really just have to improvise the whole time and think on your feet. And lastly, if you see any of these enemies, just skip them completely. If you're bad at the game like me, they will kill you, or they won't die.
You're going to want to skip the Tainted, mostly seen in Act 1. They have lightning range attacks that hurt a lot. Next, anything that's lightning resistant or lightning enchanted, they'll not die easily to our attacks since we spec in lightning. And then the minions of destruction, they look like dinosaurs and they're hard to kill. And lastly, the council members, which summon fire hydra heads that hurt a lot. In conclusion, this is a basic tutorial guide on how to speedrun Diablo 2. I hope that this helps as a first look on what a run will look like and how to complete one. Feel free to chime in and share any tips or tricks or anything, or correct me if I'm wrong on something. In my next Diablo 2 video, I'll detail my first run, which took me 7 hours, which as you can expect is not normal. So I'll show how I managed to do that. And after that, I'll show you my journey on improving that time in the next couple weeks.
Tune in for more.